Over the past 5 weeks, our family has traveled through parts of Turkey as well as coastal and mountainous regions of Italy, trying all different kinds of foods along the way. This area of the world is home to what is widely considered the healthiest diet on the planet, the Mediterranean diet. So many Americans hear the term diet and they conjure up images of someone stepping onto a scale or measuring their waist, yearning to lose 10, 20, 50, 100 pounds. But the Mediterranean diet isn't a hack, or a fad, or a quick fix to obesity or health problems. Rather, it's what the definition of a diet is, the foods that we eat, and it's been proven to be a sustainable long-term lifestyle with myriad health benefits. The diet, primarily the product of Italians, Spaniards, and Greeks, is rooted in the consumption of large amounts of legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and olive oil, with minimal consumption of meat and moderate amounts of dairy and eggs. Having 2 young girls, we are deeply committed to instilling in them a healthy connection with food so that they never struggle with weight control or yo-yo dieting like so many Americans do. We wanted to take a week here in Tuscany to explore this heralded diet. We're exploring foods from 5 different regions of Italy, pushing our culinary knowledge to new heights and gaining new skills we've always wanted to try. Our primary objective, though, is to have our girls fall in love with food from an early age, how it's sourced, how it's made, and how it nourishes our bodies to keep us living a long and healthy life. We've already been cooking for weeks, mostly following the tenets of the Mediterranean diet, having already trounced 2 giant bottles of olive oil in only 5 weeks. We actually just picked up our 3rd. Olive oil is a strangely complicated topic. Generally, extra virgin olive oil, or EVOO, is a label that implies a lack of processing the olives with heat and pressure to obtain the oil, and rather cold pressing the olives to obtain the oil that they naturally produce. Many people think that provided you buy extra virgin olive oil, you're getting high quality, nutrient-rich olive oil to begin preparing your Mediterranean dishes. Unfortunately, that rich olivey taste varies widely between extra virgin olive oils. And we think that the extra virgin olive oil that we've always bought in the US significantly lacks the olive flavor and therefore most likely many of its nutritional benefits. To learn more, we reached out to Frantoio Del Pasqua, a family olive oil producer here in Tuscany, the mecca of olive oil production. We were lucky to visit their farm and production facility to better understand what makes a good olive oil. Olives are harvested off their branches with all of their leaves. The first step of the process sorts them apart from their leaves, rinses them, then crushes them with their pits, which contain oil themselves. That paste is separated into solids and liquids. It's filtered and then it's ready to eat. The remaining solids, which still contain about 10% of an olive's oil, are bought by other companies that can apply heat and/or chemicals to the byproduct to make non-extra virgin olive oils. What we learned is that EVOO is just a process for obtaining the oil from olives, achieved through owning the right machines. But the nutrients of olive oil and that coveted flavor is achieved in the roots of the olive oil trees on farms across Italy and the world. Only quality and nutrient-rich olives can produce quality and nutrient-rich olive oils. It seems so simple a concept, yet most of us buy olive oil off the supermarket shelf with no earthly clue where the product comes from. Finding single-source olive oils from farms like Frantoio Del Pasqua provides a clarity to the nutrition that we're buying. We can see the product in the ground, taste the olives at their source, and trust that we're getting the nutritional powerhouse that we were promised. Thank you to Marta for her unbelievable hospitality and openness to sharing her family's operation with us, and to Tommaso, her machining expert, for kindly showing us how the entire process works, from branch to oil. We walked a mile south from our Arezzo apartment to a bi-weekly farmer's market to get all of our produce. The apartment we're staying in is in the historical center of Arezzo, which is a walled city. It's actually really interesting here. It seems like the local government has banned big-name supermarkets from coming into the city center, so it's allowed a local grocery scene to really flourish. And so on every corner, there are these little Italian specialty shops that sell pasta and cheese and meats and a little bit of produce. They all seem to be one-off shops. We have veggies, lots of veggies. For protein, we have chickpea flour, beans, chicken, and seafood. Then we have olive oil, polenta, semolina flour, and cheese. The crux of the Mediterranean diet is simplicity. Whole food ingredients, each with their own nutritional benefits. Vinegars help regulate glycemic indexes. Fruits and vegetables have anti-inflammatory antioxidants, and extra virgin olive oil has properties that are conducive to healthy brains and hearts. Finally, we had all of our ingredients together. 5 days of cooking 8 different dishes from 5 different regions of Italy. First up, fagioli bianchi and farinata from the adjacent regions of Piedmont and Lombardy. Fagioli is a delightfully satisfying dish.
It's nice.
Made primarily with beans, herbs, kale, shallots, and broth. It's no surprise that our first cooking act was to measure out a couple of tablespoons of olive oil to get our shallots cooking. Olive oil is in all 8 dishes that we cooked, so it's truly indispensable to this cuisine. Farinata is a unique dish.
Farinata.
Made with chickpea flour. It comes out like an in-between of a quiche and a pizza crust.
Yes, nice.
It's really its own thing, but it's high in protein, and we weren't shy about adding Parmesan and olive oil to the top of our slices. We snacked on this while cooking throughout the next few days. Liking it?
It's kind of nice having a little cooking snack there.
Yeah. Day 2 was all about fulfilling a bucket list item for us. Cooking pasta from scratch in Italy. We had no instructor, just a bag of semolina flour, some water, a pinch of salt, and a prayer. We'd always failed to make pasta at home in Texas, but it turns out, with the right flour, it's kind of easy. So easy, in fact, a baby can do it. We made an orecchiette recipe from the Puglia region. Orecchiette is one of our favorite pastas, and it's an easy one to shape by hand because you just pull off a small piece and press it onto your thumb. We all 4 sat together for about 45 minutes and shaped our couple hundred orecchiettes before splashing them into the salted water for just 3 minutes. The dish was topped off with an olive oil and anchovy sauce, turnip greens, some toasted Parmesan crusted bread pieces, and a few dollops of ricotta. We were honestly blown away by the taste and the texture.
I already saw my towel. That's really good.
It's honestly phenomenal.
Seriously?
We loved it so much, we made it again a couple of days after. Then a third time in Milan a couple of weeks later. Store-bought dried pasta and handmade pasta bear no resemblance at all. Consider us converted. Day 3, we went a little rogue and made a family favorite recipe for chicken veggie meatballs. Beyond their generous use of vegetables, they aren't particularly Mediterranean, but we needed a protein to complement our highlight side dish, roasted Parmesan fennel from the Tuscany region. This recipe really highlights the simplicity of the Mediterranean diet. It doesn't have to be complicated to be delicious and nutritious. Fennel is bountifully available in Italy, and we were all about it because it's expensive at home. Day 4, we made linguine alle vongole from the Campania region, specifically Naples. This clam dish looks beautiful, but it was a complete flop because we bought dry pasta for it at the beginning of the week. And after tasting the sweet glory of handmade pasta, we felt like traitors. Frankly, our white wine sauce was bland as well, so we'll leave this one to the Naples natives. However, a drizzle of olive oil and some Parmesan cheese saved the day. Our final day, we made fish alla cartoccio and eggplant caponata from Sicily. This method of wrapping the fish in paper with vegetables and aromatics really kept the protein tender and moist. The caponata was something we'd never tried. It's a wonderful side dish chock full of vegetables, though surprisingly rich in flavor. Prepping ingredients to be cooked as a family is so rewarding because it has so many different benefits, and the first is that our children learn what is actually in their food. When they grocery shop and prepare ingredients with us, they know exactly what they're eating and how to tell us what they're enjoying. Second, it's a physical task that keeps their minds and hands busy and even works on motor skill development. Our eldest daughter started 2 different cooking tasks with us when she was about 18 months old, pulling kale and peeling boiled eggs. And it really set off in her a passion for the kitchen. She's taken ownership over things like that and thinks of them as her tasks, her contributions to what we make. The third major benefit of cooking together is that kids can develop an appreciation for the time that goes into making a dish. And a lot of dishes take 1 to 2 hours to complete, sometimes much longer. And if kids just show up to the table ready to eat, then they're not gonna savor the food quite as much as if they saw it go from raw to plated, and better still, if they helped contribute to that process. The shop, the prep, the cook, they're all fun, but nothing is more rewarding than when you finally sit down after working together to see how everything turned out.
I love it.
We are amateurs at plating and have spent very little time developing this skill, But as our girls have gotten older and have started to develop something resembling patience, it's really fun to slow down at the end of a cook to make sure that all of the plates look nice and that all of the final touches have been made. This week was fun and delicious, no doubt, but through our research and our experience, we learned that there is a secret ingredient to the Mediterranean diet that has nothing to do with food. People from these regions, most boasting longer lifespans and lower levels of stress, heart disease, and obesity, do exactly what we did this week, but as a lifestyle. They take the time to source quality whole ingredients, and they stand on their feet for hours a day preparing their meals, and when they do finally sit down to eat, they're sitting down with their families and their communities, sharing the meal over a long period of time, savoring the food. This connection between what we eat and creating positive memories and experiences around food is so integral to the success of the Mediterranean diet. So slow down, grab yourself a bottle of olive oil, and go have some fun with your family. You think it's gonna be good? We trust you, Lucy.